Welcome back to my channel. I hated that. I hated it. One sec. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about books. So this video was supposed to be last Friday, but instead I put out the Myers-Briggs personality test video instead, and I decided to do this video this week. So this is supposed to be, normally the first Friday of each new month is supposed to be, hey, this is going to be the new book I'm going to read, and then the previous Friday is supposed to be, hey, this is the book I read, and giving you a little review on that. So my video is going to be a little different today in telling you that I did not finish the book that I was supposed to read for the month of February. If you saw my very first book video, in it I explained that I've never been a good reader. I've always been very, very slow at reading. It's just something I've never been quite good at, and it's something that I wanted to challenge myself to do for this entire year. I wanted to read 12 books for 12 months. I'm really bummed that I didn't finish the book that I was reading for February. The book that I was reading was Becoming by Michelle Obama. Now, am I going to read this? Absolutely. But I think that this was challenging just because I would put off reading this book, and I think it's because this is bigger. Double, actually maybe 3 times the size of the last book that I read. And so I was giving myself a pretty big challenge, and I think that knowing that the book was so big and knowing that the month of February is just so short, I gave myself a pretty big challenge, and then I would just put it off because I was anxious that I wasn't going to finish it. So I just didn't pick it up a lot. I really got in my head when it came to finishing this book, and I got so anxious that I barely picked it up. So I was quite upset about that. But yeah, so long story short, I did not finish this book. I absolutely plan on reading this book. What I really want to do is still read 12 books in 12 months. Unfortunately, one of those months is just going to have to be 2 books that I read, and this is going to be one of them. I really, really want to read this book, but I think I just gave myself too big of a challenge when it came to reading a book that was pretty big for me. It's maybe like 500 pages, and that might not seem like a lot to some people, but to me that's a lot, especially for someone who doesn't read a lot. So again, I just gave myself too big of a challenge, and that's okay. So I'm not going to read this book just yet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read for the month of March a book that I'm also very excited to read, and a book that is closer to the length of the last book that I read. So yes, I will be reading Becoming maybe after the summer, or maybe during the summer, because I'll have a little bit more time. This past month was also so busy, and I didn't realize, I realized, but I didn't realize just how busy I was going to be. Like, I knew there were certain things happening, but I guess I didn't understand just how busy I was going to be until I was doing these things. I was in a wedding at the beginning of this month. I have been doing photo shoots. I had clinicals for school. I had interviews. I got a new job. I started rehearsals. I had auditions, and I had to choreograph things. So there was so much that happened. And again, I knew all this stuff, was happening in the month of February, and still and my birthday was this month. Wow. February like flew by because of all of these things. These are all great things and I'm glad they are happening. But it was a lot. It was so much, and I just kept putting my book on the back burner. I just kept getting too anxious about finishing it, and I just never picked it up because of how nervous I got that I wasn't going to finish it. Does that make sense? Yeah. So for the month of March, I'm going to be reading another book that I really, really want to read. And it's a book that is closer in length to the last book that I read. So that puts me at ease a little bit, knowing that this book is not going to be 3 times the size of the last one. So the book that I'm going to be reading is Girl, Wash Your Face by Rachel Hollis. So I have heard of this book. I have heard of her. One of my good friends on Facebook always quotes this woman. I am very excited to get to know her a little bit more. Stop believing the lies about who you are so you can become who you were meant to be. I mean, come on. I'm really excited to read this. This is one that I did have on my list for, hey, I'm gonna read this book in one of my months. I originally wanted to start with this book, but I ended up starting with JVN's instead. I'm excited to start reading this book, and I'm not going to be worried about getting it done. I'm not going to be worried about finishing in time. I'm not going to worry as much with this one, just because I know that worrying makes me 10 times more anxious than I already am. And because I worried so much about the last book, I didn't get it done. And I'm really sad about that. Again, I'm still going to read it, and I will read it later on in this year, and I will let you know my thoughts on it then. But for now, I just have to put it on the back burner, and that's okay. I will let you know at the end of this month how I liked Girl, Wash Your Face. I will give you a little review of that. I'm really excited to read this book. Again, I have seen many quotes from this author. I have loved everything I've seen from her. I'm very excited. I feel like we maybe have similar mindsets, so I think I'm really gonna like it. I recently watched a show where they were kind of making fun of books like this, books that are self-empowering and motivational, and I don't know, I don't get why people make fun of these types of books. I think that's so exciting that books like this exist. So I'm really, really excited to read this, and I'm excited to let you know what I think about it. So thank you for listening to me talk about how reading is not the easiest thing for me, and I couldn't get through my last book, but I'm going to get through this one, and I will eventually finish Becoming by Michelle Obama. And I'm really, really excited to read it. From what I've read, it's amazing so far. She is amazing. But yeah, I will let you know when I'm going to restart that book. And for now, the month of March is dedicated to Girl, Wash Your Face by Rachel Hollis. And I'm excited to let you know what I think of that one. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.